you have a red flag in your channel and we are going to close it. And I freaked out. And I reached out to like a contact that was there and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like I honestly had no clue. Can you please give me the contact of the Body Beach program? And I would tell them that I would immediately erase all of this and let's forget about it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. And today I am joined by an incredible entrepreneur friend of mine who started so many little businesses and she now has a boutique. She's actually a YouTuber. She's kind of a big deal. She's one of those that received one of those super cool YouTube plaques. What is it? Like silver or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has a name. I honestly... I don't know. I should know the name, but it's the first like little milestone. I would say
the little milestone of getting like 100,000 subscribers. Like that's incredible. Yeah. So her name is Carol del Toro. Yeah.
Hey guys. Okay. Let's just get it out there before, but this is my first time ever recording a podcast. And even though I'm super comfortable with the camera, I'm a little freaked out about this. I'm like, wait, I sound like this? I don't know. It's just a different experience. So if I sound a little bit weird, I guess it's just me getting used to it. But I was so excited to be here when Cindy told me.
When Cindy told me, hey, come over.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, so I think that Carol just has so much to offer, and then just kind of inspiration and motivation for, everybody out there that's like thinking about starting, a YouTube or starting a small business. And there has been a lot of hard things that she's gone through, and I'm sure she might share with you guys shortly. But when I met Carol, I was just blown away. She is definitely a doer. And then I'm sure you've heard the cliche of I'm not a dreamer, I'm a doer. Okay, this woman is a doer. If she thinks of something, she's going to do it, and she's just staring at me sure.
It's really nice to, I guess, hear it from somebody else because you just always try to encourage yourself. I always talk to myself a lot, actually. And yeah, that's exactly what I say to myself. I'm like, if you want it, just do it. Don't go around looking for excuses because that's how we talk ourselves down out of doing a lot of stuff. But if you just find the way to do it.
Yeah. And there's always a way. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but there's always a way. Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started this YouTube channel? Actually, when was it that you thought hey, I'm just going to have a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
And then what was that like?
Yeah.
Did you tell your family hey guys, we're just going to be vlogging all the time now? Do you remember that?
Absolutely. It was yesterday. So I don't know if you know this, but it wasn't actually my idea.
Really?
My YouTube channel was not my idea. It was Katie's.
Really?
Yes.
Katie is Carol's sister, by the way, you guys.
Correct. I just talk everybody knows who Katie is. But yeah, Cindy, of course, she knows all of my family. But Katie, my little sister. So it all started, I actually went to school. It's crazy because I graduated with a degree of architecture and construction science. So cool. I've always been passionate about building, construction, architecture, decoration. I love it. Mm-hmm. So I always knew I wanted to do that. But graduated, started working. And at that time, my now husband, he was in Midland. Okay. He had moved to Midland. He graduated as well, and his work just took him over there. Mm-hmm. And so that resulted with me being very lonely in the weekends. And I say lonely because at that time, my husband and I met when we were 18.
Wow.
We've been together for going on 11 years. And
That's
so at the time that I'm what I'm talking about right now, if we're talking about 10 years ago, at that time, a lot of my friends were single. And what did they want to do? They wanted to go out, party, meet guys. So I just felt like I wasn't on that same spot as them. Mm-hmm. And even though I could have gone out with them, I was like, I'd rather stay at home. Mm-hmm. And so I stayed home, and I always knew I wanted to do something for myself.
Yeah.
My dad always encouraged me. He's been an entrepreneur all his life, never worked for anybody else. And I remember him telling me, you guys have to go to school. You guys have to get a degree. And I was like, but Dad, I want to work for myself like you did. Why do I have to go to school? And he was like, no, because what you learn in school, you would never learn if you just go out to the world. And he was like, my dream as your father is to give you guys education. If after that education, you want to go ahead and do whatever you want to do, feel free. But I want you to study. And so I was like, okay, whatnot. But so at this time, with all this free time, I was like, I want to start something. Like, I want to do something. What do I do? What do I do? And my little sister, like we were talking one time, at this time I lived with my older sister, Belu. She had a crazy job as well, super busy. So I was all the time like by myself. And my little sister was like, why don't you start, like, there's these girls that they like just upload videos. And she was like, you can, share your tips and tricks. But this time YouTube wasn't like, I didn't know YouTube paid or anything. She was like, you can just record yourself, give tips, and you actually form a community of people that share your interests, because if they're looking up the stuff that you're recording, it's because they're interested on looking at this. And so this is actually, I don't know if anybody that's listening to this is going to go looking in my channel, but actually my first video that I ever recorded, I have it saved. It's not online.
Oh,
super awkward.
Why?
It is the most awkward video of all time.
What is it about?
It's me doing my makeup. It's like a makeup tutorial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I actually started with a makeup tutorial. The reason why it's not up is because actually my channel was shut down at 50,000 subscribers.
Why?
And I started from 0.
No way.
Yes.
So was it hacked or something? Or
no. So I start my channel, and the idea first was to start it with Belu, with my sister. And so that's why my first channel was called Irish Twins. It wasn't my name, which is
Irish
now
Twins.
And the meaning about like just Irish Twins, it's basically what my sister and I, our situation. It's like we have the same birthday but a year apart.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what Irish Twins means. So we started together, and like I said, I filmed the first video. And again, like I said, even though it was like my thing, like I wanted to do something and I wanted to start sharing tips and everything. Cindy knows. I mean, you know how close we are with Belu. So I was like, let's start it together. And we thought it would be great. But at that time, Belu was working so much. Like she was just graduated, and her work just took her a lot of places. She was just traveling everywhere. And so she didn't have a lot of time to record. So it was just basically me. But so I started the channel, and I never wanted to just share one thing. And so I was like, I love beauty. It's a big part of, but it's not everything. And so I just thought like, I'm going to share my workout tips. Like I used to wake up to go to the gym. I was like, I'm just going to share everything basically and just see what people like. Again, like trying to create this community of people that would have my same interests.
Yeah.
And that's how it started going. Actually, and people that wanted a lot of tips about working out and how I would arrange my schedule, because I had like a very also office schedule. How did I make time to go to the gym?
Yeah.
So I remember that was the first video that people say that's called going viral. I don't think, nowadays you have YouTube videos with 10 million views.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, it's not viral, but that was the first video that hit 1 million views.
That's a lot.
I know it's a lot, but like to me, it was just never like, oh, wow. I kind of realized it was a big deal when I saw it being broadcasted in a news channel.
What?
In Peru.
Wow.
Yeah, this girl that followed me sent me the picture, and she was like, I follow you and you're in the news channel. I came out in like a little segment that they were like tips and whatnot, and they put my channel, my old channel in there. So I was like, oh my God. And then that video got a lot of views. And so from then, my audience became more about kind of like working out tips. Even though my first video, it's a beauty video, people were very interested about like my, my schedule, workout, whatnot. And then little by little, I just shared like little segments, I would say, of like me hanging out with my family, and they seemed to loved just seeing what my family was all about. We're super like close, I would say. We love doing we were just together all the time.
Yeah.
And so I started recording a little bit of everything. And I would say that my channel, when you try to put a category on it, it doesn't really have one, because I honestly just share what my audience wants me to share. So even though I wanted it to be like a beauty channel or whatnot, it just took me a different direction.
Yeah.
And I just kind of listened to what they wanted me to share, and that's how it just came about. But actually, I was telling you about how they closed down my channel, and I want to, I guess, tell you guys about that, because it was a pretty hard time for me, I would say, because it was basically all of my hard work for 2 years. It was just swiped away. Yeah. And I was left with the decision of just give up or start again. What happened with the channel that got closed down was I was sharing tips and tricks at that moment. I was doing this, I don't know if you know about this workout program called Insanity.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I mean, I didn't never do it. I mean,
you've heard of it?
I've heard of it though.
It's super popular. So I was doing that, and I was sharing with my audience the process, because I was like, let's do it together. It's 30 years. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
And let's just do it together. Well, in some of those videos, you could hear the background, like the noise of the video, the original video. I had purchased, my boyfriend, my now husband, had given me that as a present, and so I had the videos. But what I used to do is record myself, and basically the girls that would do exercise with me, they would watch what I was doing.
Yeah,
but it's not like I uploaded the video, but you could hear some of it in the background. Well, it got, of course, copyrighted. And I immediately, I remember receiving the notification, and I immediately contacted at this point, I wasn't getting paid by YouTube. To me, it wasn't that concerned, but it did say you have a red flag in your channel and we are going to close it. And I freaked out. And I reached out to a contact that was there, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I honestly had no clue. Can you please give me the contact of the Body Beach program? And I would tell them that I would immediately erase all of this and let's forget about it. They did. I reached out to the person, and it was a girl. And I remember she just told me, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do.
Really?
Basically, your
didn't even tell you to maybe just take down the video and really?
Nothing, Cindy. It was nothing. And I remember her sending this email super apologetic, because I was like, I had no clue.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I never I'm a fan of your program. I'm actually trying to encourage people to get it, to do it.
Yeah.
I apologize. I will immediately remove all of this, but can you please take the claim down from YouTube?
Yeah.
And she just said, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. And so that's when YouTube completely shut down my channel. Wow. And I could only upload videos that were shorter than 15 minutes. And I mean, to me, a lot of YouTube channels actually try to make videos shorter than 15 minutes. But to me, that was a no-go. My videos were long. They were blogs. They were me communicating with my audience. So, and they told me the channel was going to be blocked that way for 2 years. After 2 years of having perfectly good standing, they would review my channel and give it back to me. But if for some reason during those 2 years I get any other flag, even a copyright by a song that, you know how sometimes you're blogging, you walk into a store, there's a little song in the background, anything that would YouTube flag it, if that came again, my channel was going to be shut down.
Yeah.
And that's so hard. It ended. I had to close out my channel and start again.
Yeah. So did you start your name channel? Yeah.
That's when I decided, just because I already knew that me and Belu weren't gonna, the schedule just wasn't matching. And then my husband moved in. I just knew life was gonna take us separate ways, even though now where literally me and my sister do like everything together. But I was like, it's just time for me to start with my name, I guess, and just to start again. So that happened. And of course, a lot of the people that followed me, I was able to tell them like, hey, I'm starting a new channel, but obviously not everybody. So I think I left my channel at 53,000 before I had to start again. And sometimes even like I look it up and it's still like at 48,000 or something.
Really? Oh, it's still there?
Yeah, I think it's still there. It's, of course, it doesn't like have anything, but it's still there. And I'm like, thank you. I guess. But yeah, so that's how I started the one with my name.
Yeah.
And got it up and going again.
But what year was that? Do you remember?
That was, let me think, 2016.
2016. All right. So 4 years ago. Wow. So you've been doing YouTube for how long now?
So I would say 5 because they shut down the channel when I had like a year on the first one. Yeah. So I would say like 5 years. So I remember like I had the date when I started and everything. And then since my channel got taken down and then it's a new one, I don't even remember the dates. You know how people celebrate anniversaries on YouTube? No. I never, I don't really, I guess I don't have track of the time. But I would say it's been a long road, but it's been one that I wouldn't change because it's left me some lessons, I guess.
Yeah. And then so do you remember like what equipment you started with? Because that's a huge thing. Like a lot of people that are going into YouTube, they're just like, oh, okay, I have to have the perfect camera first. And I have to have like the correct like editing software and like all these things, that we kind of get caught up in. And so earlier how we were saying it's like, no, just do it. Yeah. So I just want to hear like, what was your equipment? Do you remember?
Yes, my phone.
What?
Just like everybody else, I started with the phone that was oh my gosh, I wish I could find the first video because it's so bad. So my phone, and I had no ring light. I remember our apartment had windows like kind of what you have. And I would just put a lot of books, a candle, the phone, and then which this was super hard because I love to see what's going on. So I love recording with either a monitor or, the camera.
Screen,
but the quality on the front camera of the phone was horrible. So I had to use the back camera. So I would put a mirror so I could see like my reflection.
Yeah. Did you?
In front of the phone so I could kind of see like what I was doing. But that was on like my first video. And then I just got very comfortable on like doing blogs. It's easier. You're just holding the phone, but just like all the other, I guess, YouTubers out there, I started with my phone. I actually didn't buy my first camera until like almost 3 years
really
after I started my channel.
So for 3 years, you were just using a phone?
Just my phone, yeah. But remember, at the time I started my YouTube channel also, I was working a full-time job that required a lot of me. And so I guess it wasn't like, now it's my full-time job. But back then, I guess I just didn't see the cheapest camera is $500, if that. And I was like, I can't spend this much money on my camera
hobby or whatever.
That's perfect way to describe it, on a hobby. So I was like, no, my job was always my priority, and it took a lot of my time. I even work weekends a lot of the time. So in construction, it's crazy. And so, just start with your phone. And even now that YouTube has become so popular that I feel like a lot of people are intimidated because nowadays there's kids that open up a channel within 5 months, they're at 1 million followers and people feel intimidated and they're like, how am I going to start if I don't have a camera and I don't like, you feel the pressure, I guess, from all this social media now going on. And honestly, if you think that way, you're never going to get anywhere. Yeah. Because I could sit here too and say, oh my God, I've been on YouTube for 5 years. I should have 2 million, followers. No, it's not my journey. It's not whatever it is, the content that I decide to put out there, or any reason why I'm not, let's say, at 1 million or 500,000 or whatever it is. It has to do with my journey. For some people, it takes months. For others, it takes years. And you just need to like understand and love your journey.
Yeah. That's good.
And it's going to be different for everybody.
But yeah, no, I love that you bring that up because it's important to start, you know?
And it does not matter. Like, don't ever compare your journey to anybody else. Anybody. Like, I cannot tell you. And that's so important because at this point where it's taking me whatever amount of years and it's turned into my job. So now social media is my job, my full-time job. Sometimes I do compare myself and I'm like, but why? Like, I've been working on this so hard, and kind of like you ignore all of the little obstacles you've gotten through because you're just focused on why my progress is not the same as somebody else. But in reality, like, look at it, everything you've gone through to get to this place. And
that's good.
And it's just crazy. Like, sometimes even, like I said, even myself, that I'm able to sustain myself with this career, I still doubt it. And I'm like, no, Carol, like, why? And that's when I like talk to myself. And luckily, I also have my husband has been with me throughout this all. So he's seen me since I started.
Yeah.
I actually never told him when I started a YouTube channel. I kept it a secret because I was like, he's very private. Super private person. His family as well. His family does not like to come out on my blogs. That does not mean they don't support it.
Yeah.
They support me 100%. And like, a lot of people also, I guess, misinterpret that. But there's just people that are more private. And you have to understand that, because I chose to put my life publicly. They didn't. And just the fact that they support me, that's all I need.
Yeah.
So I don't need to push them to be public. Like, that's another thing. A lot of people are like, how did you get your family on board? And how did you, it's just a progress. Like, you can't push people to do what you like to do. So people that love you, they'll support you. And just like, it then has opened up little by little.
Yeah.
And like I said, his family does not like to be in camera. They always like, they tell me like, if you're going to record, like, tell me so I'm not in it and everything.
Yeah.
Not because they don't like it or they don't support it. It's just different.
Yeah.
people.
It's just completely different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's super important to be sensitive to that too, you know?
Yeah. I try to always, that's why, like, when I'm blogging or whatnot, I always ask, I'm like, is it okay for me to blog? Because there's people that they don't like their home shown, or they don't like, and you have to respect that, because now we just like to think like, oh, it's social media, not for everybody.
Yeah, it's true.
So you have to be respectful of that.
And I think it's super important and like super random too. But it's like, I remember like for a moment there, I was like, oh, I'm going to vlog. So I don't know if you know this, but I think I have like 4 little vlogs on YouTube and they're just silly. And I did them on my phone and just for fun, you know? And then so, but I remember like going into a business and like asking like, hey, is it okay if I'm recording? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously it was a coffee shop and they're like, sure, you know, they don't really care, but I'm sure you probably understand that. You know?
Completely. And like I said, it's just being mindful of people and just respecting. I mean, come on. It's just, but nowadays it's crazy that you just have to explain respect. It's like, it's just, I guess the way you were brought up, you know, like, just ask, just say, please, I'm working on this. And you gotta be like, sometimes it's crazy that like people, if you communicate, people are willing to do a lot.
Yeah.
Like, even if they don't like being on camera or something, if you explain like, oh, I'm just making this video, like, I just want to explain this or do this, they'll be like, okay, I don't really like it, but let's try to work with you, I guess. But just communicate. And see what you're trying to get across, like your point across, and they'll help you out.
So yeah, like, how did you take it full time, and what did that look like? And I just want to know, you know.
So it was super scary. First of all, when you're changing, it's very scary. So to anyone out there, I guess it's normal to doubt yourself, just because we're humans, and it's just gonna come about, I guess. And if I'm somebody that loves to plan, and I was super scared, especially because I actually took it full time when we purchased our first home.
Wow.
And I was just terrified because even though my husband has a full-time job and everything, we've always just shared expenses. And I never wanted to let him down, I guess, as a partner. And it was scary, but I knew I wanted to take that step. And honestly, I didn't know where to begin. So what I did is I decided to talk to my dad. He's
about
the
YouTube.
best about business, I guess. Actually, yeah, like not really YouTube, but like just business in general, because he's always been a businessman. And I was like, if I'm gonna talk to somebody about, and let's just say that I always knew that I never like YouTube to me was great, or is not was, but it's a place where it has opened so many doors and it keeps opening so many doors for me. But I never wanted YouTube to be like my main, I guess like my main business, let's call it that, because now I just call it social media. YouTube is part of that, but it's not my main income by any means. It's a big part of it, but it's not like what pays for all of my bills, I would say. Like I always wanted a business.
Yeah.
I wanted something, like I said, I always grew up in a household that had that. And so I was like, I know that in order to grow a business, I need more time. At the time, even though I loved my job, the time was not there because my job required me to work even weekends. And so I knew that if I wanted to start something, I had to free up time.
Yeah.
That I knew. But I just didn't have that push. Like all these doubts came over me and I was like, oh my God, right now it's not the time. We just bought the house. What if something goes wrong? Like, we need to build up our savings. We need to, like, all these doubts came over me. And so I decided to talk to my dad. And actually, funny story, but let's try to summarize it. When I'm trying to leave, I'm very open with my bosses. I had a great relationship with them. And I always told them, I was like, I want my own thing. I want to start my own thing. And so at this time when I'm trying to leave, they offer me a raise, not only monetary, but in the company.
Wow.
And I'm a very signal person. Like I thought, this is a sign I shouldn't leave. Like right now, this is a sign that I should stay here. And all these doubts came to be. But at the same time, I always had this plan. So a couple months ago, I already started thinking like, I need to open up my schedule. I need more time so I can start working on something. So I started saving a lot, as much as I could, just so I could have like a little bit of a, I guess, backup. Like my main worry was like, I don't want to let Hernan down.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to put also the stress of him having to like just push up a household, especially because we had just gotten the house. And so I had all these plans. They give me the raise, they give me this, and I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't leave. So I go and talk to my dad and I tell him everything. I'm like, Dad, I want to start something, but there's this great opportunity at work. And I just don't know what to do. Like, what did you do? And my dad, Cindy, but like for everybody listening, I guess my dad is very, I would say, dry. No, like he's a very like social person and nice and everything, but he's very like cut dry, to the point, like very strict person, like
stern. Yeah.
So I guess I talked, and I remember like I told him, can I come to your job? I want to talk to you. And he was like, okay. So I came, he sat on a table like right in front of me, just like you are. I sat on this side and he was like, so what's going on? And I talk out of my, I can talk for hours. And so I started talking and explaining, and I'm like, Dad, and this and that. And I feel this, but now this and the work. He sat there quietly, just looking at me. And when I finally gave him a chance to talk, and I was like, I don't know what to do. He looked at me and he was like, and when have he said it in Spanish, but he was like, when have I taught you that life is about money?
Oh, that's good.
He just said like, ¿cuándo te he enseñado yo que se trata de dinero, que la vida se trata de dinero? And I was like, I just sat there and I'm like, wait, I talked for 20 minutes and you say this? Because my main concern was like, I'm not going to be able to pay this. And and Hernan is going to be pressured. And now the work, my job is offering me more money. Like, and he was like, all you can talk about is money. And he was like, that's the worst way to start a business.
Wow.
If you're worried about money. He was like, you need to do it because you want it. And then money comes second. When you're doing something you love, money, trust me, money will come and money will go. Because when you own a business, there's going to be really good times. On those good times, you save for the bad ones because there's a lot of bad ones. But he was like, if you're trying to make your decision based on money, you're going to get nowhere.
Wow.
So rethink what you want to do. And if you want to start a business, start. Don't talk about money. Don't worry about like money comes and goes. Like do not put that as a priority, basically.
Oh my God. I wish I could have your dad on a podcast.
I know, right? And I guess that's why everyone on my channel, everyone begs me for a video with my dad.
Oh,
that's
can I beg you now?
the highest like requested video, I guess, is that. But he's just, I'm telling you, like he does not care that I have YouTube. He does not care that I have like quote unquote a public life. To me, like I'm Carol, I'm his daughter, and he's gonna like
support you and be there.
Exactly. But he's not, I don't know if he's just gonna sit on I don't know. I guess we'll have to like ask him and talk him into it. But he's just so worried about work and like all these other stuff that I don't think he'll be like, Dad, all these people want, like they're requesting a video. He's gonna be like, I don't care. Like you know what I mean? Like,
but it's true. Like if any of you guys have ever met, like, Carol's dad, like there's just something about him. There's just so much wisdom. You know what I mean? And like, wow.
It's crazy so because now that we are older, I'm like, I hate the fact that my dad was right all the time because my dad was my biggest enemy growing up. I was like, he's against me having fun. He's against me going out. He's against me making money. He's against me because all this time, like in college, that I want to work. No, you have to study.
Yeah.
You're working by not making me waste money on your school. Study.
Wow.
Are you missing something? You have clothes. You have food. You have a roof over your head. What do you want money for?
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, this guy just wants to make my life miserable. But now I look at it and I'm like, he is honestly the wise. Like he's so wise. He's been through everything. He has an answer for everything. And I'm telling you, when I started my business was because of that answer.
I love that. I love that answer. It's like, so when did I tell you that it was supposed to be about money? I love that because like when you're starting a business, you all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, am I going to make money from this? And it's like, no, we should rephrase that and be like, well, am I going to love what I'm doing?
Exactly.
And it's like, am I passionate about this? And are people, supporting me for that? You know what I mean? Like
100%.
If people are constantly saying like, oh my God, you're going to do great at that, like take that and run with it.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure like we always have those people who are like outside looking and saying like, oh my God, you're going to kill it when you do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm sure your family, especially Belen's incredible. It's like your own personal cheerleader right there, you know, but it's like your entire family is probably telling you like, yes, Carol, do this. And it's crazy how in our minds we're like, no, like maybe not, like I might not be able to do it, and then, wow. So good.
Absolutely. And so, that's when I was like, oh my God, gosh. And I'm telling you, I honestly talked to him for like 20 minutes straight of the pros, the cons. Like I had a list prepared, everything. And he had this answer that I just didn't even know what to reply to that. I was like, so he just told me, he was like, go and rethink. Like you're just not where you need to be. Like, what are you talking about?
So what did that look like? So at this point, you're going full time into social media and that is what, YouTube and Instagram and a blog or what? So what did that look like at that time?
Correct. So at that time it was exactly what you said. And also I was doing this requested by my following, I started doing this like little like fitness challenges to just help people get back on track, you know, with little tips and tricks that have worked for me, because I've been, you know, I've always, I guess, being in the fitness life, like I just love it. We've always been working out, just like I told you before, doing like Insanity and trying all these different programs where I finally got like a good, I would say, understanding of how the body works, that you don't need to restrain yourself, that you can have fun as long as you are consistent. You know, just take care of yourself during the week. And on the weekend, you can eat, you can go out, you can have your drinks. It's all about balance. But if you sit there on the couch every night, choosing not to cook and eating a bag of potato chips, like, that's of course is not going to help, you know? So like little things like that, I started learning and practicing on my own body and everything. And so I started doing these little challenges with girls. And so I had like that, I guess, as part of my business. And so those three things were basically it. But in my mindset, I always knew I wanted something more. And I just took on with it. I said, okay, I have a little bit of a savings that I told you when I started planning leaving that I had put to the side. And I said, okay, if everything goes wrong, because I just, even though it wasn't about money, you know, I had my plan B. I was like, everything goes wrong, I can at least cover all of our, you know, expenses for 3 months. That's all I had. I was like, 3 months, I'm going to put in all of me and just see where this takes. And that's what I did. And it's crazy that everyone that owns a business says, once you own a business, you work more than when you work for somebody else. It's completely true. But at the same time, it does not feel like it at all. And so I remember, and now Hernan tells me, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's true. So I used to literally like go to sleep. I put in my 2-week notice, but I already, like, for me, my countdown started. My time started counting from the moment I put in that 2-week notice. So I would get home from work and I would work until 2-3 in the morning, go to sleep, wake up at 6, again, like do the whole thing again. And so I started putting a lot more into my videos, like scheduling them out, into the blog, like, and actually now like things have shifted, I guess. Now, like I don't do blogging as much on my website because there's other means, like we work with like To Know It, Reward Style, which is basically an app that is a blog. Like you can just upload everything there immediately. So there's little things that have changed, but I started like just scheduling more videos because that's what, you know, to keep moving your channel, you need to keep producing content. And I remember I put in an order for samples of the first clothing line that I always knew I wanted to have something that had to do with clothes because I love fashion. And I remember Belu and I were so little and that we're like, oh my God, we're going to own a clothing store. Like in Ecuador, we used to have this store that we loved that was Mango. It was called Mango in the mall. And we loved it. And we were like, we're going to have one. We're going to have one. Like we've always had that in mind. And so I put in the order for the first couple of samples, back then, not knowing anything because I wasn't sure, but I was like, I need to start somewhere. I'm going to get some samples in, start figuring out prices and things like this. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep working on my blog, my YouTube and, you know, social media, I guess, overall. And it was very scary. But honest to God, guys, it was just like my dad said, like, it was crazy how the less I worried about money, the more I worried about working and putting in the hours. It didn't matter if I had no sleep, just work on what you love. And money was always there. Always. Not like, oh my God, like I'm killing it, I'm doing it. But like it kept flowing in. It kept like little by little. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, it's working, I guess. And I was just so fortunate that I never had to get to the point where my savings for those 3 months had run out or anything. Like I always just kept like
Just building,
building and building from there to the point where I remember, I think it was like 6 months in or 8 months probably, after I quit, that I talked to Hernan and I was like, I think I have a little bit of savings to start up. Like I had already made like all of my spreadsheets of how much I needed to invest for inventory and things like that. Because I wanted the boutique, I wanted the clothing line.
Yeah.
And I told Hernan and I was like, okay, I have this, but that means that my savings are going to be wiped out.
Wow.
So are we okay? Like, because, you know, if anything happens, like we need to, like, you basically need to cover us. And
it's like, hey, so I'm about to spend all of our money.
Yes. Yes, totally. And he's more of a planner. So I could tell he was very scared, but at the same time, he's never told me no. He was like, if you think this is the right thing to do, I'm with you. Let me know how can I help and let's do this. And that was the best decision ever because so basically from the moment I decided to start by myself, like you mentioned. So it was a little bit. It's not like I could just go ahead and just do whatever I wanted. Like basically my social media, so YouTube, the blog, Instagram, would bring in enough money to basically like cover expenses. I was not making money. I wasn't like making more money because luckily with my job, I was able to pay bills and save.
Yeah.
With this new job, with my job, I was able to like barely cover it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cover the bills. And I wasn't saving much, but I was like just a little bit where I could. And like I said, in my case, it's a little bit different because my husband worked and he had a good job. He has a good job. And so it's not like we were struggling, but it did take me some time. But that first investment I made into the first launch of the boutique was very scary because it was basically all of our savings plus all of the work that I had been doing during that time were gone.
Yeah.
And they were gone for almost 6 months because when you place an order, especially like my first launch was very customizable, like everything we did from scratch. They require you to pay upfront before stuff is like you approve a sample, but then you pay everything.
Yeah.
And then you don't get all of the clothes until months later. So it was very scary. So basically, we did that. Then we started preparing pictures, launch, website, all of these things that it was just money. Like everything was an expense. But after that first launch, we were able to almost triple what we invested.
Wow.
And I was able to get the boutique going by itself. So no longer I returned our investment. And then the boutique was able to sustain itself. And that's how the boutique became my main source of income. So now I was employed by the boutique. And I have to admit, I did leave a little bit of YouTube, like, you know, and that's why a lot of the people that have supported me for a while, they're like, but Carol, remember us, like, don't forget us. And it's true because YouTube opened the doors for all of it.
Exactly.
100%. So now I have my business and everything, but if it wasn't for YouTube, I don't think I could have gotten, I mean, I don't know, but like this is my story. So YouTube opened those doors for me.
Yeah.
And the support of my followers made it possible for me to like, you know, you have your projections on the first launch. I was like, oh, please, let's just like, as long as we don't have much inventory left, like I'll be okay. But like, I was so scared. And it was like we sold out of everything and like people were requesting more. And so like it was all due to that connection that I had taken the time and the years to build with my following base.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying never compare the progress to anybody, because there might be this person that has 3 million followers, but they don't have the connection that you have with
that's so good.
with your audience. They just don't. And I am I know it's a lot, but I'm at 100,000.
You're at 130 something thousand. I checked this morning, by the way.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I'm at 130,000. But my support is, I feel like, honestly, I have one of the biggest, most positive, supportive audience out there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like Hernan always tells me, he's like, you're so lucky because not a lot of people can say that they went into business and it just was able to hold itself after the first launch.
True.
Like a lot of people, and even my dad told me, you need to prepare for the first couple of years. You're not going to be able to make money.
Yeah.
You need to be okay with that because it's not about money. It's eventually going to get to that, but you need to be prepared. That's why you cannot make it about money, because if it's about money, you're going to be
really disappointed,
very disappointed. And so it's just, little stepping stools. And again, I repeat it. This is my story. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's going to be the same for you. It doesn't mean it's going to be yours may be better.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful about like just creating your own path, and it's been great. And now we're sitting here, we're we're recording a podcast about all of this journey that it's crazy. Sometimes I'm like, wow.
I know. And then the thing is that like, okay, so a lot of people that are going to be listening to this are obviously younger, and they understand that social media does make a huge difference, but I'm like, have you ever had someone who's older who looks at you as like, oh, she's just a YouTuber? Like, have you ever had that? Or have you ever had like people like kind of like, oh, okay, you do social media. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like how do you even, you know what I mean?
I guess in here, not a whole lot, because I don't know why or maybe I don't know if it's a United States thing, but like in here, people are much more aware that like social media is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like huge. But I was able to tell like that kind of judgy feeling, I guess, when I made my trip to Ecuador with Hernan.
Really?
Not a couple, like in February of this year.
So it wasn't here? Okay.
No, it wasn't here. Or I guess because in here, I'm not very social outside of my family. So I guess I don't have, I don't know. And my family are used to it. It's okay, I guess. But in Ecuador, I was just like, when I would meet people that I guess would ask me, what do I do? And I would tell them, and they're like, well, that's a job. They would just look at me like very confused. But I guess it's all part of this learning curve that social media, honestly, I didn't even know social media could be this powerful. Like sometimes I also think like, it's crazy. How can a person support? It's like, sometimes it's just, I don't even comprehend the power of social media just yet, because it just has grown over the years. And I'm telling you, I just started when social media wasn't paying. So to me, that's why I guess in my mind, it was always like, this is a path to get to my goal.
Yeah.
And that's why I always wanted to create my business. I wanted to do this. Nowadays, you go to school, like my little cousin was telling me that she goes to school and there's little kids writing on paper. What do you want to be? A YouTuber.
Yeah. An influencer.
A
social media marketer. Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to run Instagram.
Completely. That before you were like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? But now it's a profession that people seek out because you get like, it gives you a lot of opportunities. But to me, I guess I started when it wasn't that.
Yeah.
I knew like, okay, YouTube, I could create a community. We could, I could use up my time that I had free or whatnot. But I honestly never knew that it could be like a job.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I always had in my mind, like, I want my business. Like I want something like separate from, YouTube or Instagram or social media.
Yeah.
But
because it's important too. And I guess like, I love your story. I love that you took the time to nurture that community, to like be there for your community. And I know like the people that follow you, like they're incredible. They're super positive and they're like behind you. And I remember being at the launch of the boutique and how many people showed up to it.
Yeah.
Like you guys, you have no idea. Like I remember Carol was like reaching out and it's like, hey guys, so I'm launching my boutique. Yeah. And it was like such a cool little place, or I mean, it was a pop-up actually. The one I'm talking about, it's a pop-up. And like, I didn't realize like how incredible your following was, and I knew, I mean, obviously like you look at the number and you're like, oh wow, like she's pretty big, like on YouTube and on Instagram. But then like to have people actually drive and like come down like from Dallas and from all kinds of places or all over Texas really and be there physically supporting you.
Yeah.
You know, and then not only that, like they brought you gifts, like they brought you like all this stuff because they were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna like support you by buying like stuff from your boutique, but also like we're here for you and we brought you this gift that like, you know, like we packaged and I don't know, it was just so amazing to watch, you know, how it's like, wow, like that is so incredible.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Some like like I told you, sometimes I don't even comprehend, and it's crazy. Like the other day I was in my office and I was opening up a package and I started crying because sometimes I just still cannot imagine like how somebody goes out of their way to buy something, to package something, to pay, to send me something. And it's like, it makes me feel so special. And we go back to, it does not matter how many followers you have in the world. Like if you have, and that's what it comes down to. Like, I'm like, if I have 10 people that love me as much as this person, like, you know what I mean? It just opens up your eyes and you're like, wow, there's a huge connection. Like people really bond with you and it just makes a difference. So I guess it's also because people can really see through, especially like video. You can, unless you're pretty good, but I cannot put up a show. Like when I'm feeling bad, sometimes it's crazy that I look at my comments and people are like, you like, what happened? You looked weird. You look different. You look, and I'm like, oh my God. So that's why when I'm having like a bad day or I'm trying, I try not to record because I know that's going to transfer. And I guess people are just so involved because you just share, you're just so open and natural. And I guess what I'm going with this is like one of the tips that I can give you if you want to start on something like social media, you need to be you and you need to be as transparent as you can be. Because if this is going to be your life, if you're not you, at a certain point in that career, because it's a career from the day you start, someone's going to notice and it's just all going to come down.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you are true to yourself. And I would say try not to. I'm actually very picky as to what content I decide to watch because you can get influenced.
Yeah.
And you want to stay true to yourself. Like I said, like don't go watching, like it's good to take example, take lead and be like, oh, I love like her setup and you know, certain things.
Be inspired.
But don't ever be like, oh my God, I'm going to start making videos like this because she has 5 million followers.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, I'm going to do, if you want to do those kind of videos, by all means, but don't ever go into it going like, oh, I want to do this because it got this many views and she has this many. Never. Because
it's not going to work.
And you're going to be disappointed because you're going to make the exact same video. People are going to be able to see that you're just, you know, it's just going to come out in your personality. And then you're going to be like, but why?
Yeah.
Why did mine not get like this many views or this many likes? It's because people like natural content. Authentic at the end of the day. And so it's just always true to yourself and know that your story, it's completely different from the person sitting next to you.
Yeah. And it's going to resonate with completely different people. Like, you know, like you have a following that you nurtured because they want to follow Carol. You know what I mean? And it's like, and they want to follow like your makeup tricks and like tips. And then also like your fitness plans and everything that you share, you know, they create a connection with you and you're keeping that relationship, you know, and they want to be a part of that. Right. So it's like, even for me, like some of the people that are going to be listening to this are photographers, you know, and then, or they're aspiring to be photographers or something like that, you know, so it's not, they're not going to, you know, listen to this because they want to listen to, you know, fitness stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like I have a completely different following. You have a different following, but I mean, it's important to know that you're different and that you have so much power within that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's great.
Yeah.
And being okay with that and being like, I I mean,
and that's what's gonna get you to be comfortable with yourself, and you're always gonna feel proud of your work. You don't ever want to be like ashamed because you did something just for, likes or views, or because you wanted to grow faster, like, because it's just gonna catch up to you.
Yeah.
So if you're proud of your work, that's all you need. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter, what journey you have to go through. The path opens up differently for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just a great thing. It's really nice. The hardest part is taking that first step. But after that first step's taken, if you love it, honestly, it's just,
and it's not easy. No. It's not going to be easy. And I think that's the other thing. It's like we expect like instant gratification and instant, like following and instant likes or whatever it is, But it's like sometimes you can share something and it not get the exact same engagement that the previous thing did, the previous video or previous photo. But don't take it as like, okay, well, then obviously I messed up and I'm not doing anything anymore. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, well, what can we learn from this? And then apply what you learned and then move forward. Correct? Like, what do you think?
Absolutely. And that's, again, like, it's very important to listen to your audience and the people you're trying to make part of your community. I guess that's what I like to call it. Instead of target, I love to call it community, because these are the people that are going to support you. Yeah. So I always and it's crazy, because I always tell, like, when I get a chance, and when I don't like to sign also, I don't like to sound like annoying by saying like, oh my God, thank you. But at the end of the day, think about it. Like, all the people that follow me, that either even watch me, support, like buy from me, whatever it is, those are the people that are sustaining me. So we need to be very thankful, listen to them. So I always listen to the recommendations they have to make. But at the same time, stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
So I love hearing recommendations, but if it's something that doesn't make me feel comfortable, I'm not going to do it just because somebody's asking for me to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's just knowing that balance, I guess, like, and also, like you said, just knowing that there's different, like, people. Some people may follow me for my family, other for my workout tips, others for my fashion or for whatever it is. Yeah. But just learn and understand that, like, you need to engage with that community and just be thankful and create content that makes you always feel, proud. Yeah. And the rest just comes along. But like you said, it's not like, for example, a lot of people think that, I get a lot of messages. They're like, can you please like post my account or something on your stories or whatnot so people can follow me. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Like, I would love to do it, but people are not like, and you can see it with my sister, Belu. Not everyone that follows me, I've told them, please go support my sister.
Yeah.
But people that don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. They're gonna support who they want to support, and they're gonna connect who they want to connect. So nowadays, I also see it a lot that people just want to hang out, and they're like, oh my God, I want to hang out with her because she has a lot of followers. And maybe it doesn't work like that. You're wasting your time.
Yeah.
You're wasting your time, because coming and hanging out, let's say with me, it's not going to get you the followers, because people don't follow just because like, she's hanging out with Carol. No, people are going to follow you if they really respect you and if they love your work and if they, see something of value to them. And that's how you build a community, not by hanging out with people that you think are going to get you there. Yeah. No, be yourself, do your work, and it'll
come naturally. Yeah,
absolutely.
And then that's the other thing. It's like you're building a following that's going to stay with you throughout all these like different hurdles that'll come your way. Like for example, whenever you built a following and then it just like disappeared, overnight essentially. Yeah. Those people that transferred over, like those are so valuable. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if it was, 2 or 20 or 200 or whatever it is. It's like, even if it was just 2, like it's so important, Yeah. So yeah.
And it's a great connection, because I still, to the day, sometimes I get messages and they're like, oh my God, I came from Irish Trends, which is, again, like a lot of people that weren't back then with me, they don't know that I had another channel or what the name even was. Yeah. And so when I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, like you've been following me for so long. And it's great. It's an awesome feeling. And like I said, I always feel that gratitude, and I always just feel like so warm at all that those people are the ones that gave me the opportunity to be here. Those are the people that allowed me, the people that allowed me to make my dream, honestly, a reality. And so that's also what I try to remind myself, like, stay true to that.
Yeah. So earlier you were talking a little bit about how you have like a YouTube schedule, and you have, do you have the same thing for Instagram? Or, I mean, what are some tips that you would share, to the people that are listening right now on, like, obviously it's a completely different world now with YouTube, and then there's like a lot of people trying to start a YouTube. So what would you, give them as recommendation? Yes, be true to yourself would be, imperative. Number one is like, be yourself, and like, after that, what would you say?
So there's a lot of people that ask me this question. Actually, it's one of the highly requested videos on my channel. But the thing of it is that, like I mentioned earlier, it comes different for everybody. It's a different path. But what I can say is, if you really want to start a channel, especially on YouTube, I always tell people, record yourself doing 3 different things and see what you feel most natural with. So if you like arts and crafts, record a DIY project. If you love working out, share a workout. And if you love doing a blog, then do a blog. See what the interaction is from there, and try to keep creating content, like I said, on that kind of path, if you enjoy it. Like I said at the beginning, I wanted to do beauty videos, but my life is not just beauty. And when I started sharing about my family and my workout tips, that's what took on the most. And so that doesn't mean that you're going with what, it's taking on or what's making you popular, but you're finding that niche that you enjoy, and you're using that to make a business, create a community, and keep going if that's what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, especially nowadays, before we didn't know YouTube paid, right? But now we know, and we know it's one of the biggest things. Like, you guys, YouTube is powerful. Like, I can tell you that by me, just imagine. So just think about it. I have 130,000 followers,
subscribers,
or subscribers. And from that, my videos, of course, I don't have 100,000 views, but the videos that I upload can get anywhere between 20, 30, 10, 12, whatever, depending on the topic, right? But based on those views, I can tell you that I can support myself, pay my bills with YouTube alone, right? So now imagine the people that have 1 million followers, 2 million followers, 10 million followers. So YouTube is huge. It's powerful. You can certainly make a living out of it. So completely, I always encourage people, start your YouTube, but be yourself. Create different content, see what people like, so you can start creating a following base that now is way harder. So before, when I started, you didn't have to apply. Now I know, because of my sister that started way later after me, that you need to have a minimum of 10,000 subscribers, I guess. You need to have a minimum of view time for YouTube to even approve your channel to get any type of, pay or whatnot. So I know that it's become a little bit more strict, but at the same time, it's a great job. It lets you do what you enjoy from the comfort of your home. And, if people like it, people are going to keep watching. And you don't need a huge following base to support yourself. You can start little, keep building. And then, like I said, YouTube opens up so many opportunities.
And use what you have.
I recorded with my phone. I'm telling you, with my phone. And nowadays that the phones are even greater than cameras, I follow a couple of channels that do blogs that they record with the latest iPhone, the 11. I don't have that one, and the quality is amazing. So do not limit yourself, and just create content. If that's what you like to do, create content, do it. It's really fun. It's amazing. I love it. I love YouTube. It does come with negativity too, so be prepared for that. But as long as the majority of it is positive, it's an amazing job. Like, imagine just getting paid for creating content. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right. And I have another question. Just in regards to Instagram, what is one thing that you think people can do to kind of grow that Instagram following? Is it, post every day or something like that? Or is there something like, what is the magic?
For Instagram, I feel like I haven't gotten the hold of it just yet as much as other people. Like sometimes I try to learn, and I there's a lot of websites that give you tips and tricks or whatnot, but I know that being consistent helps. So personally, when I post at least once a day, I can see my following base going up very steady.
Yeah.
As soon as I don't, you can see it stop, right? And also, like, there's all this things about algorithm and Instagram and whatnot. But I feel like they do put priority on accounts that are more active. And so, but also at the same time, don't post just to post, like, oh, because I have to upload like a post daily. Like, no, it has to be, like I said, be you. So it has to be natural. It has to be something that you're going to engage with, because you not only want to post a picture, you want to have interaction with the people that follow you. So that's a lot of also, I guess we can touch on it right now, but a lot of the brands that have reached out to me to work with me, they are amazed by the engagement that I have.
Yeah.
So I remember I talked to a couple that they're in social media and everything, and they recruit people or influencers, let's say, to work with brands.
Yeah.
And she was telling me, it's crazy that you have the same kind of engagement. By engagement, I mean likes and comments.
Yeah.
That an account that has 150,000 followers have. And on my Instagram, I'm at 50 something.
55,000
followers.
Yeah.
And I have the same kind of engagement that pages that have 150,000 followers have.
Yeah.
And that's something that actually I didn't think of until she brought it up. And she was like, it's great because it's like people love interacting with you guys. Like it's not only like an account that has a lot of followers. No. So don't get caught up on the number. Value content and connection over quantity, because quantity, like again, like just look at my social media. I am small compared to all these other accounts, right? I'm not saying like it's not big, but I'm small and I can make a living out of it. So you don't need huge numbers to be able to sustain yourself with social media if that's the path you want to take. You just need a very true audience that connects with you and that supports you.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that matters, because everything else, it just comes along. So create content on Instagram that your following base is gonna enjoy.
Yeah.
And I try to mix it up. So in my case, like I know they love, like a lot of people follow me for the routines that I share. So I try to mix it up and not only do like one thing. I know they love seeing my family. So I post pictures about my family and then some tips and like outfit things that I like here and there, but mix it up and just see what your audience likes and just like stay true to yourself. And of course, be consistent, especially on YouTube. I feel like Instagram goes hand in hand. I'm not to the point to where, let's say a brand wants to like do a paid partnership with me, at least not a brand that I would consider. There's a lot of like, my God, if I would, honestly, I feel like if I would work with tea, have you seen those like weight loss teas that people sell on? My goodness, how many tea companies can reach out to me? I'm like, I'm not going to sell your damn tea. It does not work to lose weight. Like it's not true. And honestly, and again, that goes back to being true to yourself. I'm not going to accept a $3,000 check over people trusting me.
True. Wow.
That to me has no value. And I won't do it. I won't do it because those $3,000 are going to cost me way more in the long run when people realize that I'm just selling stuff for selling, because I don't drink tea. And I know that a tea for weight loss is not true.
Yeah.
What's going to do to you? Detox, of course. But you can do that with any over-the-counter tea. And so things like that like there's going to come opportunities when you grow that are tempting. Mm-hmm. But to me, my value, again, like my connection over that number, it's way more important.
Yeah.
Way more important. And so that's something that nowadays, like social media just gets very like diluted and lost. And it's kind of sad because I can see it, like, especially because in the smaller accounts, like I can see people working with brands that I haven't worked with. And I'm like, what are you doing to work with? Like, it's just, a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's,
but that's a whole other podcast, you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
it's like, and it always goes back to just being true to yourself, and it's like, if you wouldn't drink this tea and go to the store and actually buy it yourself, like, please don't, like, just don't be that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But so is there any apps? Are there any apps that you would recommend? Do you use a scheduling app? What do you use to edit your photos? Like anything like that?
So for photos, I use Lightroom a little bit. I'm not good. Like I try to learn. I tried to buy presets. That's just a mess because like it looks good on one picture and then it looks completely different on another one and it doesn't go. And it's just like, no, you need to learn. So I do try to learn Lightroom, not good at it, but that's kind of what I use. I do love one that's called Retouch.
Okay.
Which helps you like get rid of big things like seamlessly. So like, let's say I take a picture of like this and I want to delete, like we're just looking at a table with some cups, but I want to delete like one cup, it'll like delete it. But also you have to be careful because it's not a professional app. So if you just go over it too much, like you're going to be able to tell. So that, I also use the Grid app like for photos, but other than that, my pictures on Instagram are very like just what I take. Sometimes just because of the time. On the business though, I do try to I had to hire somebody to help me out with pictures and everything. Cause at the same time, you guys, you need to pick and see like what you're good for. So I'm good for certain things, but like, for example, if I know I'm not good at photography, like, if I can afford, like, I'm not saying go get in debt to like hire the best photographer or whatnot, but like every time we can, like, that's why I tell Belen, like, even though it's expensive, I rather pay Cindy to do the pictures or this person to help me out with what they're good, because that's why they're professionals.
Yeah.
That's why you need to, like, at the same time, it's like, we all want to save money, but if we're talking about business, and again, like this is a whole other topic, I guess, podcast, but like you need to see where you can save, where it's smart to save and where you're just like out of your league and you should just, hand
it over, delegate.
Right. Delegate and see where your priorities are. But
God, I wish we could just go into that too, because that's an entire podcast in and of itself.
Completely. And like in business, it comes to that because you have budgets for certain things and it's like, okay, what do I want to spend my money with? And just learning to value everybody's time, you guys, because people didn't just be like, I just don't want to get into too much detail because it's a huge topic. Like sometimes people just think like, oh, but it's just taking pictures, for example. And it's like, well then try it.
Yeah.
Give it a try and see how it is. So that's just like, that's why I guess I don't put that much effort into like editing my pictures for my personal IG, because I just feel it more natural. Like I just want to share like honestly reality. I'm not a model. I'm not a photographer. I'm just trying to share like lifestyle.
Super
organic content.
But even in that, like you've already like realized that this is what you're setting like up, so your Instagram's going to be an organic, authentic, like super chill posting. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's like, like, for example, mine is very much like I like everything to look a certain way, like very crisp, clean, so it would look super off if out of nowhere I posted something that just looked completely different. You know what I mean? So it's super important to just establish like from the beginning, like what you're going to be sharing. And like for your boutique, you had to hire someone because you were establishing a brand, an aesthetic for it.
Absolutely. And I tried to do it for a little bit for myself, but I was like, oh my God, I don't like it. I don't know. This is horrible. And again, like just seeing like what's best. And for you, like it's the same for you as your business. Like you share. So it's just, you can expect, like, when you go to your profile, it's super like crisp, high quality pictures. Like this is not just out of nowhere, And so also like have that plan. And it comes back to, I guess something very important that I must say, take this as your job. If you want to make social media your job, take it as your job. So spend time on it. Be natural, be organic, but don't just go around and think like, I'll record one day, I'll put this one day. No, like if you want it to turn into your job, take out a piece of paper, just write down from Monday to Sunday. Okay, 2 days or 1 day I'm going to record. Okay, what day am I going to edit? Okay, what day am I going to upload? So give yourself a schedule. Don't just think that out of the blue it's just going to be like, oh, whenever I have time. No, because then things are going to come up. You need to schedule the time you're going to record, you're going to film. Like it's just a process. If you want something to become your job, treat it as one. Yeah. Don't just go thinking like, okay, it'll stick. No, you have to put work into it.
It's like being disciplined is a huge thing,
Absolutely.
And it's like, because I know a lot of people like, or even myself, it's like when I was starting into photography, it was just very much like, like I'll do it, on the side or whatever. But it really, whenever you actually sit down and you plan it out and you're like, okay, I'm actually doing it. I'm getting my website done. I'm creating, my schedule for my Instagram, all these different things. Like you have to make sure you block time out for them.
Absolutely.
Just as if you were going to go into your 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. And that's why, if you want it to be your job, treat it like one.
Yeah.
Like don't just stay in bed and like you have to get up. You have to, even if you work from home, like I always tell people, like I try to stick to a schedule. Yeah. So for me, it helps that Hernan goes to work. So I get up with him in the morning. We go to the gym together. Even though I come back and I can work from home, I decide to shower, get ready, go to my office, like treat it as a job if you want to get somewhere. Because if you come down and then you just lay in your bed and you think like, okay, I'm going to edit. No, you're probably going to lay in bed, start watching something, get distracted. Like,
I think that's the enemy of everything. It's like you can literally get lost scrolling away.
Absolutely.
And it's like, and how much time did we just spend like scrolling on Instagram and watching everybody else's life and looking and saying like, oh, I wish I could do that. Or, oh, look what they did, and that's awesome. Like, it's really cool to be there for other people. But the thing is like, next thing you know, you've literally been laying in bed for 2 hours.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's ever happened to anybody else, but sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to look on my phone. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, snap.
Yep.
Yeah. Does that happen? Like,
absolutely. And that's why I made it like one of my first things. A lot of people, the first thing they do when they wake up is take their phone. It's taking me a little bit of time, but like what I do is I get up and I jump to the bathroom. I, wash my face, brush my teeth, whatnot. Like I make it a point to not grab my phone until I'm out the door.
Wow.
And then when I'm out the door, I have to drive so I don't look at my phone. And so it's plus and cons, I guess, like pro and cons, because now I always get like, you never answer your phone. You never answer your text. You never answered this and that. Like even my family tell me that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I always tell people, it's crazy how I work in social media. And at the same time, I'm so unaware of social media.
Yeah.
Because if I choose to put my time and effort into social media, I would get nothing done. So it's crazy how I'm a creator. I do, but I know so little about other like accounts and things like that because I choose to focus on my content, on me.
Yeah.
Work. Exactly. So it's taking me some time to get used to that, but I try to make it a habit. Like, sometimes just check the time, or if I know I have like an important email or whatnot, and also what I did is I turned off all of my notifications on my phone from Instagram, from YouTube, for emails, everything, forcing me to go to my computer. And in my computer, I can like manage better because on the phone, I see an email, I open the email, and like all of a sudden I am in Instagram or Facebook, or And then I just lost track of what I was going to do.
Yeah.
On the computer, I know that if I open up my email, I'm going to start replying only to emails because there's nothing else unless like I switch pages.
Yeah.
And so it's just these little habit things that you need to, I guess we all know it. Like you said, it's happened to me. It happens to me too. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Not touch my phone until I have a little bit of time for my phone, and try to that way schedule out your day, because you can lose an entire day in social media. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many things you can do. Like imagine, it's crazy because, and sometimes it's funny because I'm like, oh no, just watch my stuff. But it's crazy how much good things are out there in social media. But at the same time, you need to be aware that if you're out there watching somebody else on social media, it's time that you could be using for yourself.
Yeah, to create your own thing.
To create. So,
yeah. So if you're going to make it your job, again, treat it like so.
Yep.
You know, block out that time and just make that time worth it, you know? And like whatever that is for you, if you're going to start the YouTube channel, or if you're starting the business Instagram, or if you're starting, you know, I don't know, now there's Pinterest is a huge thing too, which we didn't even talk about, you know,
TikTok.
Oh my God,
People
there's
are
just
crazy
a lot.
with TikTok.
Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah. And then one last question. So you brought up Like It to Know It. Yeah. So how does that work?
So that's an app that I've actually, it's crazy that, okay, so basically to explain it, I guess, Like to Know It is the app that anybody can download and shop basically everything. So you shop on that app. It's a shopping app. And that's why I called it blog, because before what we used to do, the bloggers, is we would upload the content to your page, and then you would tell people to go to your page and you will shop from that page. Of course, you know that with Google or with whatever, you can put the like AdSense into that blog, which generates money, right? With same way YouTube works. It's through AdSense. So it was, I guess, a little bit of more work, but now Like to Know It created this app that you honestly, everything's integrated in there. You upload the picture and you can link anything you want, and people can shop from there.
Yeah.
And so when people shop through there, you get a small commission towards you, because the way I like to see it is I love Like to Know It because you're a salesman. So you know that when you go buy at Nordstrom, the person that's selling you, that's helping you decide what to buy, gets a little commission off of your purchase.
Yeah.
This is exactly the same thing. So for example, if I link my outfit and people are like, oh, I like that outfit. Basically the store that sells this are like, oh, well, Carol, even though she's not at the store, but she helped sell this outfit by wearing it. And I purchased it in the first place because Like to Know It doesn't give you anything for free. You have to have this stuff and to link it, right? And so it's a great app. It's just made it so much easier. And I've actually had it for so long, and I've just been using it because it does take time. Like people think, again, like you think that social media or just blogging, it's so easy. It takes up a lot of time. And so looking for good sales, ordering the stuff, shooting the pictures, creating the content, it takes some time, but it does make it way easier. But Like to Know It is the app. If you want to work with it as an influencer, you have to apply through reward style, which is like something completely different. And that reward style, it's the, once you get approved, you do have to like apply basically. You get approved, and then they give you access to use the link method basically. And they create your links that you can put on the Like to Know app. So that's just how it is. It's basically like a sales commission. But at the end of the day, with everything, when you become a social media, I guess, influencer, every little helps. So you make a little bit on Like to Know It, a little bit on Instagram, a little bit on YouTube, and like all of a sudden you can pull that all in together to, you know, it's not like a job that, you know, an office job that you get all your income from
one check.
Exactly. On social media is a little bit more diverse, and then you pick and choose what you want to do and what you don't want to do. For example, I have never wanted Twitter. I'm never going to open a Twitter. I don't have good experience with Twitter. So, but I know there's a lot of people that work with Twitter very well. So it just has to be your thing.
All right. All right, Carol. Well, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your story with us, and just sharing some tips and tricks. Where can our listeners find you?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun. I feel like honestly, it's probably been a couple hours and I feel like we just started. So many topics that we could have like honestly spanned it on. But okay, so following. All of my social media is under my name. So Carol del Toro, Instagram, YouTube, like to know it. Absolutely everything.
Website,
So it's very, my website as well. It's something that I really want to take, do a little bit more of. It's quite fun. Blogging is really fun.
Yeah.
Writing and expressing, like just, if you love to express yourself and just talk and share, that's social media. Like you need to start something tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's how I am. I love to just socialize with people, talk and share tips and tricks and things like that. And it's great. So my blog, it's also caroldoctoro.com. And so it's all very easy with my name. But thank you so much for having me. It's been fun, really fun.